What's up, developers? This is chapter 4 of my Cloudflare and Hono course. In this chapter, we will set up Prettier so that we can easily format our code. So let's get started. So here I am on the Astro documentation page. They have some instructions on how to set up Prettier. And one of the questions you might be wondering is like, why would we want to install Prettier? What's the value of that? So if I come back over to my code, so you can see right now this is nicely formatted. So this div, it's indented, so I can fold this and I can see everything inside of it. What if I don't have this formatted really well and I press Control S to save? S save. Nothing. No formatting is happening right now. And I want to be able to save it and have it automatically format so that my code is always looking clean. And it's also really important when you're working on a team with other developers that you want to keep the code base clean so that someone else doesn't push up a bunch of unformatted code that is hard to read. So really that's the key, is readability and maintaining that readability across the team. So let's go back over to Google and see what they recommend. So they say that it's included with the Astro VS Code extension, which I have installed, but when I was pressing Control S to save, it wasn't formatting. So I'm going to go through these steps and get this get Prettier installed because it's not a part of the project right now. So let's copy this, jump back over to VS Code, and then I want to pull up my terminal and kill my server. And let's put that in. And I am using bun. So instead of npm install, it's going to be bun install. And then save dev, save exact, Prettier plugin Astro. Okay. And there we go. That is all installed. And if we jump back over here, let's see what else they have. So add a Prettier RC configuration file. And then we can add in some of this and optionally install Prettier plugin. We can also add in a plugin for Tailwind. And it says needs to be last. And let's do that too. So we get any kind of Tailwind formatting that we need, and then we can run this command to test it out afterwards. So let's go ahead and install this Prettier plugin Tailwind CSS, copy that, jump back over to VS Code, bun add -d for development dependency, Prettier plugin. Okay, now we are all installed. And let's jump back over to Chrome so that I can copy this. So Prettier RC. And then this file will go in the root directory. So add this dot Prettier RC. Paste that there. And we can now delete the comment. Okay. Unable to load schema. Okay, so I spent a little bit of time looking into this to see what was going on, and it appears to not actually be impacting anything. I can see that Prettier is working, so let me demo that to you. So if we come over to, let's say, the index.astro, and I now tab, we have this tabby formatting, and I press Control S to save, I now get formatting automatically. And if I come test that out over here, tab, and press Control S, it is now formatting. So before we installed Prettier, it did not format, and now we've got it installed and it's formatting. So it's working, which is awesome. And there's one more thing that we want to do. So in the package.json, it's also handy to have a couple of scripts to do the formatting for us, and that will come into play especially when we set up CI/CD later. So if we jump back over to the documentation, here we have this Prettier dot dash right. So we're going to add that into our package.json. So if I add a new here under the script section, this script we will call format, and we'll say Prettier write dot, and dot stands for basically the root directory. So it will prettify format all of our files, which is really nice. And then when it comes to CI/CD, we want a check. So if this is running inside of a GitHub action, which is the plan later in the course, we don't want it to actually format. We just want to check if it has been formatted or not. And if it has not, then fail, and then that will force whoever's on our team. If this, this isn't the team, this is just me for the course. But if someone on your team forgot to format the files, then CI/CD would fail and say, "Hey, you got to format these before we're going to merge the code." So let's go ahead and test that these are working. So if I pull up my terminal and I say bun run format check, let's see what we get. So we get some warnings and we get an error. And that makes sense because I haven't actually formatted all of the files. This was all boilerplate generated. So let's go ahead and run the format. All right, so we can see it formatted a bunch of files for us. And now let's run the dev server to make sure everything is still working. Okay, cool. So we got our hello world and our card, so everything is looking good. And now, for sanity's sake, let's do one more quick test. So if I tab, 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 and then I do bun run format, we now see that this is no longer tabbed over. It got fixed. Sweet. So Prettier is working. We've got our command set up, and it's formatting on save as well. So then we are at a good point to go ahead and push up some of these changes. So I'll say added Prettier. And some of these changes are also, I think, from the last video I forgot to push up, so my bad. Commit that, sync changes, and then double check in GitHub by clicking refresh. And we can see our Prettier RC file, so we know our changes were pushed up successfully. Cool, so that's it for this chapter. In the next chapter, we are going to set up linting.